What if the very first battle against disease didn't happen in a sterile hospital or under the white glow of surgical lights, but in a dark cave lit only by the flicker of fire over 31,000 years ago? This is not fiction. Its history is buried deep in the limestone cliffs of Borneo in a cave called Liang Teboy. In 2022, archaeologists unearthed a grave that would shake our understanding of medicine to its core. Inside was the skeleton of a young adult, around 19 or 20 years old at the time of death. But what stunned researchers wasn't the burial itself. It was the bones. The skeleton revealed that at the age of just 11, this individual had undergone a surgical amputation of the lower left leg. The cut wasn't rough, like from an accident or animal bite. It was clean, deliberate, precise. And even more astonishing, the bone had healed. This young person survived the surgery, lived for years afterward, and was cared for by their community. Think about what that means. 31,000 years ago, humans already understood something about anatomy, about infection, about healing. They knew how to cut through bone without killing. They knew how to stop the bleeding. They may not have known words like bacteria or antiseptic, but they knew through experience that wounds needed protection and care. Someone sat by that patient day after day, keeping them fed, cleaning their wounds, guarding them from infection until the child could stand again. This discovery destroys the stereotype of cavemen as brutish and primitive. It reveals a deeper truth, that our ancestors were not just hunters and gatherers. They were healers. They had knowledge, and they had compassion. That instinct to heal, to fight back against disease is as old as humanity itself. And it is the very same instinct that drives our fight against cancer today. But to understand that connection, we need to jump forward from the Stone Age to the mid-20th century. For thousands of years after that cave burial, surgery continued to evolve. Ancient Egyptians practiced trepanation, drilling holes in the skull to treat injury or disease. Indian physician Sushruta, often called the father of surgery, described complex operations nearly 2,600 years ago. Yet all of this was done in the dark, without knowledge of the body's most important secret, DNA. In 1953, in a modest laboratory in Cambridge, two scientists, James Watson and Francis Crick, revealed the structure of DNA. They showed the world the double helix, a twisting ladder made of molecules that carries the instructions for life itself. Their discovery changed medicine forever. DNA is the script of life. Genes are the sentences written in that script, and proteins are the actors who carry out the instructions, building and repairing our bodies every single day. Most of the time, this system works beautifully. Cells divide, proteins are built, errors are fixed. But sometimes the script gets corrupted. An instruction is miscopied, a protein malfunctions, and the error is allowed to repeat. Slowly, silently, chaos begins to grow. That chaos is what we call cancer. Now here's the key. Cancer is not new. It is as ancient as life itself. Scientists have found tumors in dinosaur bones. Egyptian mummies show evidence of cancers thousands of years old. Cancer is not just a modern curse of pollution or industrial life. It is the dark shadow that follows whenever cells divide. And yet, there is a difference between what we inherit and what we create. Some cancers come from the genes passed down through families. These are the inherited risks, like the BRCA1 mutation. In 2013, actress Angelina Jolie shocked the world when she revealed that she carried this mutation and chose preventive surgery. Her decision brought global attention to genetic risk. The BRCA genes usually act like guardians, repairing damaged DNA before errors can spread. But when they themselves are faulty, the body's repair system collapses, mutations build up, and cancer can follow. But here's the surprising truth. Only about 5 to 10% of cancers come from these inherited risks. Less than 5% are caused by known inherited mutations like BRCA1 or BRCA2. That means the overwhelming majority of cancers, up to 90%, don't come from our parents. They come from life itself, from smoking, sunburn, infections, alcohol, poor diet, aging, and pure chance. Think of it this way, your body is like a factory with billions of workers producing proteins and dividing cells every day. There's a quality control team that catches mistakes. But if the factory speeds up production, if you smoke or spend hours in the sun without protection, or bombard your cells with toxins, the chance of errors slipping through skyrockets. And when the inspectors themselves stop showing up, when DNA repair systems weaken with age, the system collapses. That is why cancer risk grows over time. The more copies made, the more likely an error will escape detection. The body becomes a factory producing its own enemy. But here's the remarkable part. Just like the Stone Age community in Liang Tabo, survival is not just about strength. It's about care, about choices, about action. Cavemen saved a child by amputating a leg and nurturing them afterward. Today, we save ourselves by recognizing the risks and taking steps to reduce them. Every cigarette avoided, every walk taken, every healthy meal. These are acts of survival. They are our way of performing Stone Age surgery in the modern world. And now, for the first time, we are going even further. We are not just treating cancer with surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy. We are beginning to rewrite the code itself. Scientists are developing tools to cut out faulty genes and replace them with healthy ones. This is gene therapy, modern medicine's answer to that ancient amputation. Instead of cutting away a diseased limb, we cut away diseased DNA. It is early days, but lives are already being saved. Children born with rare immune disorders are cured through gene editing. Patients with blood cancers are treated by reprogramming their own immune cells to hunt down tumors. We are standing at the beginning of a revolution. From a Stone Age cave to a sterile laboratory, the story is the same: humans refusing to surrender to disease. Humans use knowledge, instinct, and compassion to fight back. The people of Liang Tabo could not see DNA. They did not know the word cancer. But when they took a stone blade and cut through bone to save a life, they were writing the very first chapter of the story we continue today. The Liang Tabo burial reminds us of something we often forget. Medicine didn't begin in modern hospitals. It began in caves, in huts, in firelit rituals of care and survival. But what separates our time from theirs is not the instinct to heal, it's the tools we now wield. Today, scientists can look inside the human genome like never before. Imagine holding the body's instruction manual in your hands, page after page of letters, a T, C, and G stretching billions of times. Hidden within are the instructions for everything: the color of your eyes, the strength of your bones, the way your body responds to disease. But like any manuscript, errors creep in. And when enough errors accumulate, they can twist the story into something deadly. That is cancer. But here is the truth we often ignore. While our genes may set the stage, our environment and our habits write much of the plot. Let's go back to the analogy of the body as a factory. Picture a giant workshop where trillions of machines are working day and night, building proteins, repairing damage, and dividing cells. The factory has inspectors, the BRCA genes, the repair mechanisms, the immune system whose job is to catch mistakes. But what happens if we overwork the factory? What happens if we flood it with toxins, force it to work faster, or weaken the inspectors themselves? The chance of mistakes slipping through skyrockets. That's why lifestyle matters. Tobacco smoke, ultraviolet rays, processed foods, alcohol. These don't just feel unhealthy. They overwhelm the body's repair systems, making it easier for cancer to sneak through. On the other hand, exercise, good nutrition, and regular screenings give the factory more time, more energy, and stronger inspectors. The lesson is strikingly similar to what the Liang Tabo community knew. They didn't have microscopes. They didn't know what DNA was, but they understood that survival required attention, care, and action. A wound ignored meant certain death. A wound cared for meant life. We face the same truth, except now the wounds are sometimes invisible, written into the very letters of our DNA. This brings us to the most exciting and unsettling frontier of modern medicine, rewriting the code of life itself. We call it gene therapy. Imagine a surgeon not cutting through flesh, but cutting through the DNA script, removing a dangerous instruction and replacing it with a healthy one. In laboratories around the world, this is no longer a theory, it's reality. Children born with deadly immune disorders, once doomed to die young, are now being cured through gene editing. Certain blood cancers, once unstoppable, are being treated by reprogramming a patient's own immune cells to hunt down and destroy tumors. If the Liang Tabo amputation was the first chapter of surgery, then CRISPR and gene therapy are the first chapter of rewriting biology itself. Both are born of the same instinct, survival. Both require courage, skill, and the willingness to risk the unknown for the chance to save a life. But even as science moves forward, the story of cancer remains deeply human. Consider this: only a small percentage of cancers come from inherited mutations like BRCA. The vast majority are the result of the lives we live and the environments we build. That means we are not powerless. Our choices, multiplied across billions of people, shape the battlefield where cancer grows. The genes we inherit may load the gun, but it is often our daily lives that pull the trigger. That means every choice, every cigarette not smoked, every hour spent walking instead of sitting, every bowl of fruit instead of processed snacks becomes a form of surgery, a way of cutting away the risks before they take root. In that sense, we're all surgeons. Every day, with every choice, we decide how much power we give to the disease. So when we look back at the Liang Thibault cave, we shouldn't just see bones and ancient rituals. We should see ourselves. We should see the long line of human struggle against disease, stretching from a child with a missing leg in a prehistoric jungle, to a patient today hooked to an IV in a cancer ward, to a scientist editing genes on a computer screen. It is the same story, repeated across millennia. Humans refusing to give up. And this story is far from over, because the future of cancer treatment may not look like the past at all. It may not be surgery or chemotherapy or radiation. It may be rewriting the script entirely, fixing the errors before they ever cause trouble, making cancer not just treatable, but preventable. Still, no matter how advanced our technology becomes, one truth will remain the same. Survival depends not just on knowledge, but on care. The Liang Thibault child lived because their community acted with compassion. Our future depends on whether we too can act not only with technology, but with choices, discipline, and humanity. From cavemen wielding stone blades to scientists wielding molecular scissors, the fight has never stopped. Cancer may be ancient, but so is the will to heal. So yes, cavemen may have held the first clues to curing cancer not because they understood chromosomes or genes, but because they understood something just as powerful: that survival requires action, that life is worth fighting for, that healing is a duty, not just to ourselves, but to each other. And that lesson, older than history, is the one that will carry us into the future. So as we stand at the edge of a new era, one where gene therapy could erase some of our deepest medical fears, let us not forget the firelit cave where it all began. From amputating legs in the Stone Age to rewriting DNA in modern labs, our story is the same. We fight, we heal, we endure. And if you want to uncover more of these hidden battles between our ancestors, our myths, and our science, subscribe to this channel. Because the past is not finished. The past is the reason we are here, and the future is still being written.